Hello and welcome, Amanda here with Crafting with Amanda, and this is May 28th for May I Scraplift You, and I am scraplifting Kelly Pyron. And this layout that she did is going to be a perfect companion for this Giggles layout that I did on Thursday for the Makers with Heart mystery envelope. So I still have some pieces left from the mystery envelope, as well as some pieces for my club card kits that I sent out, and then 3 more photos of my beautifully adorable grand niece. So without much thought that needs to go into this, I'm using Kelly's layout as kind of my base, and I know what direction I'm going to go in. Because I'm making this a companion to my Giggles layout, I know what tools I'm going to use. So for me, this just came together so quickly, so beautifully, and it was fun to do. I love baby toes, I always have, so cutting off any baby toes is not going to happen in a photo for me. I don't know why it is, I just think they're the cutest things in the world. But because my niece is kind of offset in this chair that she's sitting in, I wanted to balance those photos, so I cut the 2 on the outside edges the same, and then the one in the center I just kept as much of that as I could, and that's going to emulate what Kelly did on her layout. And so I'm pulling pieces again from the Hello Darling paper, because that's what was sent to us in the mystery envelope for our Thursday, and I cut out the words using the thin cuts from Close to My Heart. All of the products that I'm using I will list below in the video description, but then again using the layout from Thursday with Kelly's layout to kind of have those companion pages going. This comes together very quickly. It's more a matter of preparing the things and playing with the paper. So each of the elements here, I'm trying to look at Kelly's layout and do some layering behind her photos. And I really like the fact that she has the 3 photos on here and that she's doing layering behind all of the photos, that it's not just one photo with layer and layer and layer and kind of building it out, but her 3 photos tell the story of visiting Santa, and I think these 3 photos are great of our niece. I felt like the word "and grins" was kind of fighting with that plaid paper, so I went ahead and cut all of the letters again out in white daisy, and I put 2 pieces of paper. I actually glue them together, 2 pieces of the cardstock together, so that it has a little bit more depth to it or weight to it on the layout. And then I'm also grabbing stickers from the Hello Darling sticker for my layout for the Makers with Heart mystery envelope. I didn't feel like I could do that. I don't know, I just feel like it's cheating to pull in too much extra stuff. But we were tasked with doing mixed media, and so to carry that over into this page, I am using the stencils from the Dreammaker stencil kit, or actually it's a workshop, but I absolutely love the stencil. It will be available until the end of June, and I highly recommend it. It's a 12 by 12 stencil that I cut into 4 individual smaller stencils, but it has the leaf, it has kind of this square grid pattern. It also has circles in different sizes. In fact, Katie Weeks, fellow YouTube and Close to My Heart maker, she used the stencil with the circles in it more as a guide of where to place some pearl drops versus using it as a stencil. And I thought that brilliant. One more use for this. So then here, the other thing I like about stencils is you can use both the front and back. So I did the first 2 leaves on one side, and then off camera I took the stencil and wiped it down just so that I wouldn't have green ink on the bottom side. And then I flipped it over, and now these last 2 leaves that I'm doing are oriented with the tops going a different direction. So then here's all the papers. Again, you can see my edge distresser there because I know that I need to do that. And I'm taking this, it's like hash tags, hash marks, not hash like in, but they're like the backslash marks, I guess you would call them. And then I'm using the glitter gel, Nebula glitter gel. I couldn't think of the color just then, but it's such a beautiful shiny gold. I think it would be perfect for Christmas cards or anniversary cards or anything like that. It really is that shiny. I will ask you right now, if you're not someone that has subscribed to my channel or you don't want to miss any of my future videos, go ahead and hit that thumbs up, leave a nice comment, and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out, and then you won't miss anything else that I do in the future. Going back to this Nebula glitter gel, it has stars in it, kind of like the sequin stars, but they don't fit through the stencil. So I made sure to scrape all those back up and put them in the jar so that my next project will just be laden with stars, which will be awesome. Now here I'm taking a little bit of the regular white textured paste, and it's maybe the size, what size would that be? It's not a small grape, maybe a big blueberry kind of size dollop. It's definitely bigger than a pea. And then I added 3 drops of pine re-inker, and then I'm using this and just pushing it through one of the smallest leaves on my stencil. And then my mat, my multi-purpose mat, the piece of it that I cut apart there, you could see that it was trying to curl onto itself, and with the re-inker I really didn't want it to stain my desktop, and so I caught that and then put it back under the edge of the mat so that it would stay flat. You know, the little issues that you have when you're crafting. I loved doing this for the Thursday for the Giggles layout, and so being able to kind of recreate the same feel again for this companion page, it was so much fun. My husband has today off and he's working and wanting to do stuff, and normally I would go and be with him, but I was just having too much fun in my studio playing with all of my tools and papers and all of that. So this was so much fun to do. If you have been afraid of mixed media or tried, like maybe you just shoved it in the back of the drawer, it hasn't been handy for you, I'm going to encourage you to get it out. If you're not, doing anything spectacular on this holiday weekend, go ahead and take a few minutes, locate your mixed media stuff, get it out and play with it. It is so much fun. It's all about layering, and that's exactly what I did, was layer the leaves with the grid, with the textured paste, and then with some of the spritz, the glitz, Dana Weekly spritz. I can't even think of what it's called. Sorry about that. So I've let this dry off camera, and while this is drying, it actually took quite a bit of time, but I got my little sewing machine out. I used my edge distressor, so I roughed up all the edges, and then you can see the stitching on the back side of this piece. So when I went around each piece of paper twice, I also went around the photos. And even these little strips that are 1/2 inch, I roughed up the edges, and then I did 3 sides of them on the sewing machine. The real thin ones are the only ones that I did 1 stitch around. All the rest of the papers, I went around it twice, and it was a lot of fun. And I don't know if you saw there, but I started to put adhesive on the wrong side of the plaid paper there, so I had to rub it off with my finger and then put it back down. Now this is a color sticker from the sticker sheet, and I had mentioned that I kind of wanted to maybe use those. Well, then looking at Kelly's layout again, I see she has a wider piece of paper and then like 1 strip over it with the plaid colors there. I didn't want to bring in too much more. I wanted to keep this a little more clean line so that it would be a companion page to that Giggles layout that I did. But I also wanted to have the multi-lines that she has, because I think she did a great job with all of this layering and keeping the interest drawn on the photos. So sure enough, I am just putting those in behind on things, and the photo mat is going to cover it, so we don't have to worry about any of that. And then I can save that little piece for the next layout or project that I want to do. So you'll notice, or maybe you didn't notice, but I don't press my stuff down with adhesive until I'm sure that it's where I want to go. And then otherwise it's just kind of tacked there, and it's a little easier to come up until I have kind of finalized my placement of things. Excuse me. As I'm placing these things down, I thought about getting out my T-square ruler to make sure that everything was kind of lined up and looked like it was one continuous piece of paper. And I know there's people out there that need to do that. That's just something that's very important to them. I'm okay using my eye. I have checked myself multiple times over my life, and I'm normally pretty close with my just following my eye. And if people are paying attention, or if my paper placement is enough of a distraction from the photos, then yes, I should start using the T ruler. But for me, it doesn't, as long as the photos are telling the story and kind of the focus, then I am good to go. Now, I thought I was going to need a blue flower to go on that red medallion up top there, but instead I found this red heart, which I thought was perfect. And then it also, Kelly has a red heart in the bottom right corner of her layout. So again, just one more way to scrap lift and not have to think about what I'm doing. Just let the scrap lifted layout kind of determine some things for me. And then the and grins, I think this looks so much better. So we'll have giggles on the one page and grins on this page. And it's kind of nice to have these little extra pieces from my card kits that I send to my VIP gals each month, because they're in the correct color and they just work in beautifully with kind of the theming that we went along, but it's not exactly the same, but enough. And again, these are flowers that I had cut for the companion layout for Thursday, and they were just left over on my desk. So I think this is just working out beautifully. Like I said, it came together so quickly. It was more of doing the mixed media and letting it dry while I prepared the rest of the papers with edge distressing and sewing all of them, and going ahead and shaping some of the leaves and just dry fitting here on the layout. That heart is going to be great. Because things aren't glued down, I'm not going to put that heart there yet. I'm looking to see if there's other words, because Kelly has a lot of small little words on her layout, and I'm seeing some, but I love this in blue. I think it'll be a good balance on the page. And then again, I want the bigger flower up here by grins, because that kind of brings your eye to the title, which brings your eye right into our lovely grand niece and her wonderful smile. I have so many photos of her growing up, or at this age, that her mom and dad took, and she was a very happy kid. So lots of fun there. And if you didn't notice, I cut one of those leaves that I had die cut in half, and I'm kind of putting it now at the bottom, just trying to give some balance to the page. I kind of have those 3 red zones with the strips, and then the medallion in the top. I have my 3 flowers. I have lots of leaves between the background of the stenciling and then the leaves that were cut on the Cricut, or no, not on the Cricut. Those are with thin cuts. I'm getting my balance in the blue with those berry branches there, and you can see here now that it's done that I have attached that plaid heart. And this layout is done. Like I said, the longest part of it was really waiting for the mixed media to dry after I put it all together. And while I was waiting for that, I was prepping all the papers. So be sure to check out the playlist for May I Scrap Lift You and what everybody else is doing this month. This is how you can connect with me, and all this information will be below the video as well. If you want to, you can like my video and join my channel. Have a blessed day.